Hello everyone. So this is not a professionally edited video, but this is what's going to happen. I'm just going to record myself learning, figuring out what to do next. So basically, there's a lot you can do, and I'm a little confused as to where to start. So I just decided to work on the first idea that comes to head. I'm going to start simple and then, work my way through it. So my goal here is so I actually have like a bigger plan where I want to be very fluent with Node.js. I feel like I can work with it, but you know, well, it's been like 2 years since I last done any code, so hopefully this journey won't be boring, well, at least for me. So here's what's gonna happen. So these videos will be full of crap. Like you might get bored along the way, so you might need a cup of coffee and a movie to watch alongside. Maybe not a movie, but whatever. Anyway, so let's get it down into business. The idea with this is so here's my goal. I'm planning to learn Node.js. I actually have it. I just got a Node.js course from Udemy. Um, and hopefully I'll be able to follow along. But first of all, I want to create like a dummy application where then I can apply whatever I learn into this application. So I'm going to start basic, go through the whole process. So I'll just start with paint, like just try to draw the concept, visualize the concept I have in my head. So here's the idea. So we kind of have, so when you work with different um, vendors, yeah, let's do vendors. Okay, say we're in construction. We want to build a house. We have like a house. We want to build a house. I'm not the best when it comes to drawing. So every part comes from a different source. Now you need like bricks from a source. You need like concrete from a different source, windows from a different source, uh, piping from a different source. So you got all these providers, um, and each of these providers have a different pricing, have a different material, have a different type of material, um, different quantities too. Sometimes you would like hit a vendor, say for example, looking for a specific type of brick, and that vendor would go like, I only have, say, X amount of bricks. I can't provide the full thing. So you'd be left out with, you don't have any other option, which is either to get the same brick from that guy and then wait for that vendor to provide you with more of that, or you would want to hit a different vendor and you would repeat the same process over and over again. So what if you had an app where, say for example, I want to build my house, and so okay, you might go like, this is a contractor's business, I have nothing to do with it. Yeah, let's assume we're contractors. So we want to we want to look for different providers, like we'll be able to see different providers, the pricing, and then I want to be able to, like, whenever I choose a vendor, it would take me to that vendor's products, etc., etc. And well, these would should come later, but my goal here is to buy. So I see a product, I click on it, and then I buy. So it's a regular e-commerce shop. I don't think there's anything complicated about this. But again, let's not forget the main goal, which is learn Node.js. So don't focus on the technicalities yet. I don't have to focus on what's really important here. Sorry, I don't have to focus on how complicated the app is or how simple it is. I just want to be able to, translate this into something meaningful. All right. What we can do here is, instead of us going through this, how about we do something else? Because I feel like this is very simple. Um, I want to add a little bit of, I want to make it challenging a little bit. So, what if I want to, so I want to also be able to track as a contractor. I want to be able to track what I'm spending on because sometimes you have like workers working on, handyman working on different things. Say, for example, you have the plumber working on the plumbing structure. And then suddenly the plumber decides that he's missing a few nuts, a few pipes, a few meters of piping. You'll be obviously buying those stuff, whatever is left. Like you can either buy a large quantity and have it, sitting aside somewhere in your store, or I don't know, storage facility, or you can just buy whatever that guy is actually needing. So we will assume that we're tiny contractors, we're just starting up, and we need to track every spend. And then we have multiple projects, say for example, we have two or three, but we want to be able to track whatever we're spending on and um, yeah, so we need to actually, so we will end up having two types of spendings. So spending number one is personal, like your personal stuff, and spending number two is business. And in business, you want to probably have you're a startup, so you'd end up spending on. Okay, I think we're getting somewhere. So instead of assuming we're contractors, we can assume just we're a startup and we're bootstrapping. So we kind of have. So we're bootstrapping. We're using our own money. So there's kind of a connection between your personal spendings and your business spends. Uh, okay, so we want to be able to track whatever we spend, and we want to be able to, easily be able to, document everything we spend on. Okay, so the traditional approach would be to just have like a form, a spreadsheet form, and fill in the details every time you spend on something. You want to have it, you know, um, you want to have it logged. But I know it's tedious, um, and it's time-consuming process. But but like we can just start somewhere. Like it's a starting point. Okay. And I also apologize beforehand for my, voice. I'm a little sick, but yeah. Okay. So back to my point of okay, so we kind of have two different, we're a startup and we want to document our spendings. We kind of get into that problem of mixing the spendings between personal and business. And we want to be able to create that differentiation where we want to document the personal spendings separately from the business spending. Or we can document them in the same application, but the system would internally, it's a simple application, but still, like we need to start somewhere. So I'm going to start at this or with this. And obviously, like I know it's unlikely that anyone would be following, going through any of my videos, but still, like I want to create something that I want to be, happy about at the end of the day. So here we are. We're starting with this. So the first step is create a sheets form. Um, okay, so we have a sheets form where we can log different types of um, spending. So when you create a form, all right, let's work on this. All right, let's do this right here. And then so the plan here is to have like a sheet, and then it would have amount amount, and then we'd have like a drop down personal or business. If it's business, you want to have another drop down type of business you're working on. Type. And then if it's personal, you want to also include like details. Like it has to be simple at first. The details. And then when we have this dead end, we'll, but we have to also support offline mode. It needs to work. So it needs to work offline, and it needs to, so we can visualize not visualize, but I think we can, no, I think, okay, we can have a dashboard. So yeah, I'm just adding things that I may not need here. So I'm gonna stick to, I wanted this be documented offline as well. So it has to sync every time I'm online. Okay, so, and it has to be shared among devices too. Devices, so this is like a common sense, but still, I have to work on that. Okay, so I'm gonna save this, and we'll need to get back to it later. So this is, I know it's very primitive in a sense, but we will start somewhere. Like we need to get our hands dirty first. So this is a form, a Google Sheets form. So I have it here. So, okay, forget about all this. Okay, we'll start it with spending tracker. Like our spender. Okay, so this has to be not a multiple choice, but it has to be number. It has to be a number. Okay, what happened here? It's not a multiple choice. Short answer. But is there like an option where it's required and it has to be a number? I have to Google this. Google Forms. Hey, let's see. Okay, so the way you would want to do this, Google Forms is not proper data validation. Oh, okay. So it's very easy. Response validation. Okay. Is a number. That way we'll make sure that the response is a number. Okay. Okay, so rename this amount. And then we'll have type. Type. This has to be a drop down. It has to be a drop down. No. Okay, so we need to have a drop down right here. So we'll have a type, and then we'll have option number one is personal and business. Now, how can we create nested? So, all right, let's try another question where it has to be dependent on this question, for example. Okay, let's remove this. And can we have this be dependent on this? Let's check this one out. Shuffle option order, description. Okay, let's what type of business? And then we will have, say, for example, no, does it make sense? What type of business? If you're a constructor, it makes sense, like having multiple houses. But if you're a startup, what's the okay? So, all right, let's start off with. So let's have the static list, and then we'll be able to modify it so that we can add our own businesses. Okay, we need to add this to the requirements. Add your own business. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so let's go with, say for example, interactive brokers, IB, let's call it IB, like investment broker, and then we will have farm, let's call it farm. Okay, so we have two businesses for now. We have interactive brokers and we have a farm. Let's have this be dependent on two. Get a section based on answer. Oh, okay. So we can have this be good a section. So here we can just set a section. How do we set a section though? Continue to the next section. Yeah. So we need to add another question then. We will have this be details. So this has to be like simple paragraph, short answer. Okay, what happened? Paragraph details. We have to do it all over again. We'll drop this later. What's going on? Is it a connection problem? Refresh it. Okay. We need edit mode. Where's edit? Is it a connection problem? Super weird. Why is this happening? Do we have to do it all over again? Let me try opening another form. Oh my god. Alright, I'm gonna do this real quickly. Allow this amount, then it has to be required. It has to be a short answer so that we'll be able to do response validation. Then another question on the type. It's gonna be drop down personal. Business, it also has to be required. Then we have another option where we decide on. This is a section type of business. It starts with interactive brokers. Oh, what's going on? Connection problem. We decided on interactive brokers. We also have a farm. We also have another question. States details. This has to be a paragraph. This has to be a paragraph. Let's name this the spender. Okay. So now, if this is selected, I'm gonna go for selection. Go to section based on answer. Go to section. How do I create sections? Oh, we have add section here. So, okay, type of business. Okay, section 2, we are going to delete this. So if we click on farm, I want to decide on what type of farm. We have 2 farms. No, sorry, it's not the farm. We're selecting the business. So this goes away. Please reload. What's going on? Okay, so type. We're getting rid of this. Now this is really weird. Why is this not working? What's going on? Okay, so we are waiting for a section. Okay, so we can go to section 2. If it's business, then we will proceed with the type of business. And like this has to be accessed all the time. So do we need another section for this? Section 2, this would go for section 2, like that. Can we like, okay, so this section 2, section 3 is for details. Entitled section, we'll just leave it at that. If you go for personal, we just go to section 3 right away. Okay, so we can name this details anyway, so it'll make it easy for us. Now this is details, and this is type of business. So the type would go to section 3. No, yeah, and type of business would go to section 2. And other case, continue to section 3. So after section 2, we want to do section 3. So the way this is happening is very simple. So we have an amount, and then we have different types right here. Okay, so I feel like I'm trying to explain what I'm doing, and while I should just be documenting what I do. Like I don't have to explain what I'm trying to achieve or anything. Like I just have, like I spent enough time thinking about the plan, and then I don't have to explain everything every time. So anyways, we have this amount, and then we have the type business. If it's a business, we'll go to section 2, where we decide the type of business, after which we will add the details. If we pick personal, then we just proceed to the details, and we're done with it. So what we can do is we can hit the preview and see if this first version works. Okay. All right, we have, now you cannot move to the next. Okay, let's see if we can move. You can't. All right, what's going on again? I do apologize for today. It's been raining heavily, and the connection has been lousy ever since. All right, so it's required. Let's add on, let's say for example, we're adding $100, and then it's for personal. Then we should be able to add the details next. And it's okay. So in the details, be able to say like personal, all right, dining at Smith. response. Let's go ahead and try type of business. So if you go back here, we have amount type and the details. So this is actually sufficed. Now, we need to do more than this. This is a very simple implementation of this tracker. And okay, let's go for, okay, so I think next we need to suffice this add your own business requirement. Now, I'm not sure if I can achieve this using Google Forms. All right, let's fill in this one first. Something is off with Google Sheets is messing about. I don't know what's wrong with this today. So it's taking longer than I expected to take. So I'm gonna ditch it. All right, let's go back to our original plan. So we were able to at least, um, do a dummy version of what we want to achieve. The next step would be to, hop into, all right, then we'll have to just ditch this, the Google Sheets, and then just hop into Udemy and start the Node.js course. So we're back. Okay, so we have this course. I found this course in Udemy. It's called Complete Node.js Developer Zero to Mastery. I quickly went through parts of these videos, so let's go through them again. So we'll try to follow on the videos
with you, but
and see. I try to learn during the whole. So the way we actually go through the videos, we can speed the videos. Let's see. We have the speed here. We can run it at 1.5. I think it's or 1.25. 1.5 is okay. And what we can do is we can have Notepad alongside. We have Notepad here, like any note-taking application where we can take a few notes along the way. So let's go ahead and begin this. Let's start the video and see.
as you know, before we do, we have to look at our roadmap, what the course is going to be about, what we're going to learn, so that we know exactly our path to success. So let's see what this course will look like for you. We are obviously going to start with Node.js fundamentals. These are the foundations that you need to understand what Node is, what is a runtime, what is asynchronous programming, Node versus PHP versus Python. We're going to talk about the internal architecture of Node, talk about things like threads, processes, event loops, event emitters, observer design patterns, a ton of stuff that you need to know in order to truly understand what Node is, how it works. We're going to talk about things like module systems, package management, and all the building blocks necessary for you to succeed in the following parts of the course. From there, we're going to dive into our first project. And we're going to use something called file IO, input and output, using Node to discover real-life planets around different solar systems that may contain life. This is where we're going to learn about streaming large data files, working with CSV files, and actually creating a meaningful project using real-life data. It's going to be a ton of fun, and it's going to be our first project to really introduce us to the power of Node. We then dive into the main applications of where we see Node.js, that is web servers. We're going to start from the very basics, talking about APIs, request and response, but also about important topics like same origin policy and cores. From there, we dive into a very, very popular framework for Node.js, Express.js. If you learn Node, you have to learn Express.js. But we're going to talk to you about Express, about Next.js, about Koa, and different options of frameworks and libraries. We're going to talk about the MVC pattern. we're going to dive straight into our main master project. And this project is going to be very cool. We're going to use actual NASA data and combine it with the SpaceX API to build a space launch system. And we're going to use this project as the building block of creating a more and more professional backend application using Node.js. So everything we learn after this can be applied to this project. And we're going to architect this project in a professional way. And moving forward, you're going to learn how to architect professional backend applications. We're going to really focus on advanced topics and topics that are really important because backend applications are really important. They have to be performant, they have to be secure, and they have to be scalable. And that's why right after we build our master project, we're going to get into performance and scale. We're going to learn about clustering, load balancing, PM2, managing our live clusters, zero downtime restarts. We're going to talk about things like Node worker threads, some really important, exciting topics when it comes to Node and topics that a lot of other courses shy away from. We're going to talk about authentication, a super important part of being a Node.js developer. We're going to talk about databases, NoSQL versus SQL. NoSQL versus SQL. What is it? How does it work? How do you connect a Node app to a database using things like MongoDB? We're obviously going to learn how to write proper RESTful APIs. We then dive into deploying and continuous integration and continuous deployment. What are they? How can we do this? How can we automate tests? How do we protect our secrets when deploying, such as API keys? From there, we talk about production and the cloud, using things like Docker and AWS, talking about virtual machines, serverless versus container, how to write Docker files, working with SSH, and using things like PM2 and Mongo Atlas in production. And I think you're wondering, Andre, I feel like we're missing something really important here. In this modern age, we can talk about backend development without talking about GraphQL. We're going to talk about GraphQL versus REST and how to build a GraphQL API so that we can compare the two. Now, this is a lot to cover already, but we also have a special section towards the end of the course where we talk about sockets, specifically WebSockets. In here, we're going to build a really fun project. We're going to build a full stack multiplayer Pong game, and we're going to use sockets to create namespaces and rooms so that we can have hundreds of players around the world playing our Pong game. It's going to be super, super fun and an impressive project. As you can see, this course covers a lot, and we really try to teach you proper, real techniques other than just superficial beginner topics. Even if you're a beginner, we will cover the beginner topics, but we won't shy away from those advanced ones. Now, as if this wasn't enough, we also have some bonus sections on things like Deno and TypeScript in a Node.js project. And I promise you that we're going to make it fun along the way. And by the end of it all these things that you see right here, it's all going to fit together and make sense to make you a truly strong Node.js developer. We're going to take you from zero to mastery. That's our goal. But here's the thing. The best part of this whole course is right here, our online private.
Okay, I'm not sure about doing this anymore because honestly, I feel like this might, this has some concerns about privacy and all that. So I don't think I better, record this. I have to figure out another way. Okay. Okay. So I don't think I can record this because, for obvious reasons. In this case, I'll have to do the learning off camera. So what I'm going to do is probably just have this record a blank screen and have this run on a different screen. All right. I have another idea. What I can do is probably just keep my mic on and do the learning off camera. So I went through the introduction to the course and it was talking about many things, but one of which that was the most interesting is how to hold yourself accountable. One way they achieve that is by allowing you to access their private community. And in there, you basically, everyone holds the other one accountable. And we've also managed to work on setting up the system. We've already, I'm still downloading a few packages, but I'll just finish installing the Node.js runtime. Node.js is that you can run Node.js in your browser, but you can't run it on your computer because you don't have an engine that runs Node.js on your computer. In the browser, you have V8 that comes with Chrome, whatever. So when you're using the browser, it comes with an engine that runs Node.js. But if you run Node.js directly off your computer, then you need to have some sort of engine. And that's where the runtime comes into play. hooks. You have also spider something. Um, um, yeah, so now we just need to download a runtime for computer so we will be able to run Node.js off the computer itself without having to go through a browser. It was a lot of information to take in, but mostly it was about history of how Node.js actually started and the motives behind developing Node.js. So after the official release, I think it was around, if I'm not mistaken, between 2008 and 2009. So the point of Node.js is to allow developers to actually use JavaScript, um, like just the way they use Ruby or Python, to actually develop backend code. So Node.js became handy because many people know how to use JavaScript. Um, so the runtime engine itself is actually a combination of V8 engine and the dinosaur logo thing, which is called lib, combination of libuv and V8 engine, which is basically used by Chrome. Uh, so yeah, we spent so much time, I spent so much time going through those videos. So I'll end up this video here, and to summarize all of it, it's basically Node.js allows us to use JavaScript um, in the computer without going through the browser. So we can use it to code things, to create interactive applications, just like how we do them with Python and the similar applications. So basically, we can use JavaScript in the backend as well as the front end. So in that sense, if you master JavaScript, you're basically handling or basically going about the full stack. All right, so the next video, you have to set up the environments. We need to download more than one dependency. So the next video will have to do the installation and do the testing of the environment before we can actually start coding. All right, take care.